Welcome back. As with my last few videos, I'm trying to do just one Lichess rapid analysis in each video, and I'm trying to make them as short as possible, both for me and for you. I think it's forcing me to limit my concentration to just the specific points at which I lost the game, and this was one of those points that I went behind. This is during the English opening, and the engine says I have to play b4 or e3 here to maintain what little lead I have here at the beginning. But I didn't see a reason not to play g3. I very often play g3 early in the English because I can put my bishop behind it and it's controlling a long diagonal. I don't know what the problem with this is. The engine says it's a problem because my opponent can play d5. I wasn't really worried about d5 because I can take. Now if they take back with their queen, it looks like they're going to get my rook, but they might not necessarily because I can block that with my knight or the f-pawn for that matter. So I'm not sure why I'm behind here. They did play d5 and I took it, and they took with their queen. And now I'm down -1, even though I played my best move in each of those positions. Well, I have to save the rook because it's, I don't want to give it up for free. The engine actually says f3 is my best move. Well, I wanted to go ahead and start developing, so I played the knight out. Now they can play e4 and attack my knight. I figured that they could, but I could always save the knight. So I did. I put the knight out on h4. Now my opponent has to play knight to d4. It's their only move to maintain the lead that they had previously, and I'm not sure why. I don't know where it's going. But instead they pushed the e-pawn again, and that's a blunder that gave me the advantage back, but only if I play f3 now. I didn't know that. I thought that once again they're aiming at my rook, and I can attack their queen with this bishop, which is protected by this knight that they forced me to put on h4. So that seemed like a good idea. Now my opponent has a very slight lead if they take here with check. If they did that, I'd have to take back. Although I was considering if they did that, I might just get in front of it, but the engine doesn't think that's a good idea. But they went the other way. They took on d2 with check, which lets me take it with my bishop, and their queen's still in danger, so they have to do something with it. And what they did with it was came forward just a little bit. Looks like they might have been attacking my b-pawn, which is now undefended because I moved the bishop, but that allows me to put the bishop here and force the queen trade. Maybe not force, they could still back up, but it is their best move to trade queens, and they did, and I took back. But I don't know why I'm ahead +1 here. Is it because I am ahead in development and I'm about to castle? Now, according to the graph, I was ahead the rest of the game, but I found a few things odd in this game, and one is that my opponent played f6 right here. I thought that was odd. Why did I think it was odd? I don't know. I mean, now I think it's odd because that's the absolute best move by Stockfish, but it seemed like that would have been a better place to put their knight. And it's as if they had done that, then I would have taken this knight. Actually, the engine thinks I'll take that knight no matter what they play. Well, I wasn't quite ready for that yet. I know that would mess up their pawn structure, give them an isolated doubled pawns here, but I wanted to castle. But yeah, f6. Why is that such a big deal? Now, I understand they need to play something here because otherwise I'm going to get that pawn for free and maybe their rook. What I expected them to play here was getting their knight out to e7. I'm not sure why that's not one of their best moves, but that's what I was expecting. Because then the two knights would protect each other, so me taking the other one wouldn't mess up their pawn structure. It would also get them prepared to castle. If they played that, and I took here, then they could just move their rook over one, and I'd have to run away with my bishop, and they'd have a free rook pointed out here. And then they could get this out and castle. So when they played f6, I thought that was really odd. And like I said, it seems even more odd now that I know it's the top engine move. Now it is my best move to take this, but again, I wanted to castle. It's not one of my best moves, so I castled. But it turns out the reason my opponent played f6 was so they could play g5 and attack my knight. So they did that. I don't know why that's a blunder. It doesn't seem like a great move, but it does allow me to move my knight, which I kind of wanted to anyway. It's not doing any good over there. And now my opponent's absolute best move is h6. And that's what they played. So again, I thought that was a little odd too. I didn't think it was odd during the game. I thought it was odd just now. That's their absolute best move. It doesn't develop a piece, doesn't prepare to castle. These pieces are still stuck over there, but they played h6. Well, I lined up a rook with the king. And then, despite those last couple of moves, or two of their last three moves being, the top engine moves, yet not maybe what a normal human would play, or at least not what I would have chosen in those situations, my opponent continued to make not the best moves for the rest of the game, and then abandoned the game in this position, where I have a forced mate in 7. I'm not sure why they let it get quite this far before abandoning. Maybe they thought I would mess up somewhere. Or maybe here they were trying to take the bishop and the system wouldn't let them because they're in check and they didn't realize why that was happening. But anyway, yeah, I'm not sure how in this original position I'm supposed to find b4 as my best move, or e3, either one. Now e3 would be much more likely for me to find because it's a normal move in the English where I put my knight behind it. But usually I fianchetto the bishop first, so again, I'm not sure why that's so bad, because this and this don't seem like that much of a threat, because even though they threaten my rook, I block it, and when they threaten my knight, I get out of the way, and when they move that pawn, I threaten their queen, and So again, I don't understand why it's so bad. Now, if they had gone the other way, yes, it would have messed up my right to castle, whether I took or played king to f1, and that wouldn't have been great because then I would have had a much harder time getting my rook out of the corner. So that way I would have understood, but I don't know. I also don't know why this was the blunder that it was. Thank you for spending your time here. I'll see you next time.